Okay. And I'm going to switch my stream over to full screen. Okay. So we're going to make an account on itch.io. That's the first thing that we have to do. This is pretty easy. Just like click on the register button and fill this out, and you'll have an account. You probably have to go into your email and confirm the account. I already have an account, so I'm just going to log in. Hopefully, I'll be able to remember my password. Oops. Let's try a different one. There we go. Okay. This is what it looks like once you have an account. This is the dashboard. So once you have an account, if you go to like the main page, it's just is a publishing platform. So there's lots of different games on here. And some of them are paid, some of them are free. Some of them you can play in the browser. Some of them you have to download a file for. It's pretty much like any other game website. So once you have an account, you can go to the dashboard and create a project. So you can see I have a bunch of old projects from previous semesters. So I can create a new project. I can scroll down here to click create new project, or I can just click on the drop down and go to upload new project here as well. And so then you just kind of have to fill this in. For my game title, I'm just going to call this my game fall 2022. You can give it a more interesting title if you want to. And it's going to fill in a URL for the project. So this is what you'll be able to share with other people. You can put in a tagline if you want to. And then you can choose what type of thing it is. If it's, you could publish other types of things on here. But for now, we're just going to publish a game. And this one, we're going to do HTML. So if you want to do a downloadable game in the future, you can. But for now, we're just going to do HTML so we can play the games in the browser. And then for the release status, you can say whatever you want here. In development is probably the closest thing, or prototype. Yeah, let's say prototype. For pricing, we're just going to go with no payments. If you want to try to make money, you can, but you can do that later. And then here we go is the upload part. This is the part that we have to make sure we have the right files for. So remember last time we talked about creating an index.html file when you export a build. This is why we have to have the index.html file so it'll work on itch.io. And it also says upload a zip containing your game. So that's why we made a zip file with our game. So since we already did that, it'll be easy to upload the game and have it work. This guy. So in my game folder under builds, I have this web.zip, and that's just a compressed archive of my game. And I have the index.html file. So if you upload your game and it doesn't work, there's a good chance that's the issue, is that you don't have the index.html. And that's easy to fix. Just let me know and we can go over it. So if you have that zip file, you can go back to itch, just click upload files, and go find your build. So I'm going to desktop, going to my game, going to the game folder, going to the builds folder, and then finding web.zip. I'm going to click open here. Oh, it says I have to verify my email address. That's annoying. That's kind of weird. I've used this a lot. Let's see. View profile. How do I verify my email address? Settings, email, send verification. All right, sorry, this is unexpected, but hopefully The MCC email is also really slow. Oh, there we go. That's not too bad. So I'm just clicking this link on my phone and confirming my email. And okay, so now let's go back to where I was and try that again. Okay, so I'm going to go to upload files. There's web.zip, and now it's uploading. And so here, this is our HTML build. So just click on this file will be played in the browser. And then there's a couple settings that we want to do down here. So we can stick with embed in page. And then I'm going to choose manually set size. And then I'm going to set the viewport dimensions to match the size of my game. So if you're not sure the size of the game, go back to Godot and go to the project settings and just check. But I already know that mine is 1024 by 512. And we can always change this later if we need to. And then all of this stuff, let's just ignore. So let's not use any of the frame options. And then in the details, we're going to come back here next week when we set up our user testing. But what we'll do here is we'll add a link to a survey that we're going to create so that people can give us feedback on the experience of playing the game. For now, I'm just going to put a couple notes here about some of the assets that I use. So remember, we took some notes on some of the sound files that we use that were Creative Commons. So I'm just going to put a little description and then add some attributions to those sound files. So I'm going to say, this is my class sample project for MMP 70 fall 2022. And we'll add in the link to the user testing next week. And I'm just going to put in a note here, sound files. And I'm going to go to my game folder. Oh, whoops. And go to audio and go to my notes that I took here. And just copy this and paste it into here. So background music, and I have a link, and then the name of the song and the author, and then the Apple sound and a link to that original Apple sound. So, you know, I could put more details here, but this is pretty good as far as giving attribution. Then for genre, you know, you don't have to fill this out, but, you know, this is a platformer game, so I could just put platformer. You can put other stuff there. For tags, you know, you don't really have to put anything here, but if you want to add some tags, this makes it easier for your game to be found by other people. We could put like 2D. We could put Godot. There's probably a tag for Godot. We could put pixel art if you're using pixel art. Whatever tags you want to add in there, but it's not really necessary. Custom noun is if you're making something other than a game. We can ignore that for now. And then community, I'm just going to go with disabled on here. I want people to use my user testing survey, so I'm not going to leave a place for comments. And then for visibility and access, I'm going to put public. This is going to make it a little bit easier to share with people. So you don't have to put public if you don't want it to be, you know, searchable on the internet. You could put restricted. But for user testing purposes, it'll be a lot easier if it's public. And so one thing that you have to be careful is even if you fill all of this stuff out, you still have to view the project before it'll actually be publicly available. So this always happens. People publish their game and then they send me a link, but I can't access it because you have to actually view the page and then come back here to make sure that it actually is viewable. So I'm going to click View Page. And if everything is set up right, I'll see this Run Game thing here. And there's a lot of changes that I can make on this page as well for the visual design of the page. So that's not necessary either, but if you want to, we'll go over that in a second. We can test the game. So I'm going to click Run Game. And it looks like it's working. Make sure you also test the game at least once before you send it to people, because if it doesn't work, you know, people won't be able to play it. So this looks like it's working pretty well. I don't hear the sound. I don't know if I have my sound. Oh, it's just very low. Okay, there we go. Oops. Okay. I guess because I added the fix for after I didn't make a new build after I made the restart. So this is why you don't want your game to just have a part like this where it doesn't restart, because now I have to refresh this whole page to play it again. So I'm going to update that later, but I'm not going to do it right now. So anyway, this looks pretty good. So now I have to go back to edit theme, or sorry, edit game. And at the bottom, oh, it looks like it, oh, maybe they got rid of this because it, actually, you know what, I don't see, it looks like they don't do this anymore, but you should still check. They used to do this thing where you had to look at the page before you could publish. Anyway, make sure, just test it, make sure it actually runs. And then another way that you can test to make sure that it's working is open it in an incognito tab. So like, for example, I'm signed in here, so I can see my own game. But if I hit Control-Shift-N on Chrome and go to this page, this is what it looks like for somebody who's not signed in to the account. And it should still work on here. Everything looks fine, but just test it. Just make sure that it actually works before you send it to people. So if you want to change the theme, you can go in here and do that. You can change the background color. You could change it to match your game or do whatever you want here. I'm not going to do a ton of stuff here just because it's pretty straightforward. But you can add an image in the background and do stuff like that to make it a little bit more interesting for this page. You could add an image. The banner is going to be at the top. The background is obviously the background, and then the embed is like going to be behind this button. So if I don't think I really have any art that would make sense to put in here, but maybe I could put like a sprite sheet. That might look kind of cool. Yeah, it's kind of fun, whatever. It's not like a normal background art, but at least we've got something back there. And then I'll just click save down here. So you can make other changes to the look of the itch page if you want to. And that's pretty much it. So we're ready to publish this. So we want to share it for other people to see it. So we can put this on OpenLab, but we could also just throw it on Discord. So I'll put it like once you have it, go ahead and just put it in the MMP 270 channel so we can all see it and we can all go try it out. And let's put it on OpenLab as well, so we'll see it on there. So I'm going to go over to OpenLab and make a new post and call this my first game build. And let's choose a category. So this is publishing on itch.io. And I think there's also a build category, yeah, exporting a build. And so I'll just say, here's a link to my first game build. And just paste in the link. I don't want an embed, so I'm going to say convert to link. And that's all we need there. Click publish. And so that way we have some documentation. And remember, we're going to upload a new version of this at the end of the semester. So it's not the final version of the game, but we're uploading a copy of the game with our first level so we can test it before we make more changes and additions to the game. So let's take a look at that post. Good. Make sure the link works. And I'm going to update this in a little bit so that it actually is playable, but that looks good. So that's it for publishing on itch. And we'll, as I said, we'll come back here next week when we add our user testing survey. So I'll